Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar about Agile team performance benchmarking. It's a joint ISBG NESMA webinar. Let me just figure out how I'm going to get further. Just for those of you that don't know NESMA, just to give a very brief explanation, it's a international not-for-profit organization based in the Netherlands. It used to stand for Netherlands Software Metrics Association. It's now more of an international organization. And we deal with software metrics, application development metrics in particular. Yeah, so I invite you to go also to the site if you are interested in this topic. Probably you are, otherwise you wouldn't be in this webinar today. So please go join or take a look. So NESMA, okay, I will just skip this because I just explained that. NESMA is a gold partner of ISBSG already since the beginning, so already like 25 years involved in ISBSG. And this is myself, I'm Harold. I'm already also long involved in ISBSG. I was the president for, I think for about 8 or 9 years. I have a long background in software measurement, software metrics, performance measurement, benchmarking, all those kind of activities where you need metrics. And now I'm in IDC Metri, a consultancy firm based in the Netherlands with worldwide reach, where I'm a principal consultant. And as Pierre mentioned, I'm the current president of NESMA, and I have a role in the ICEA software, special interest group software. 51 years, young. I live in the Netherlands, but I'm now luckily in Spain. In the Netherlands, it's very cold and snow even at the moment. Here, there is sun and it's warm, so that's better. Married to two kids, and I have a lot of things that I like when I'm not working on software measurement, metrics, and benchmarking, but that I also like. So that's me. Topics for today. So we're going to delve a bit into the benefits of Agile. I'm sure a lot of people know about Agile, so that I don't have to explain the whole Agile development methodology. Just give an overview. And also why it's important to measure Agile teams and also benchmark Agile teams in the end, also from an organizational point of view. Then we go into a bit of Agile development metrics that are used by teams in particular, because Agile usually have a lot of things covered by the teams themselves. But then we also have a guy who is sitting in his tower, ivory tower, somewhere in the organization that has a challenge, which is the CIO or other IT management guys. And I see all these Agile teams working, do all kinds of stuff, but what can the CIO expect from this, and how can he explain to other people why he is spending the budget that he's spending on all this Agile software development? And there, of course, measurement and metrics play a role, especially when it comes to business value. So this is some kind of buzzword, of course. Everyone wants business value. But what is it and how do you measure it? Okay, we'll take a look into that. And then as a result, also we look into a bit of high performance and low performance teams. There, of course, the benchmarking part will also kick in, because how else can you know if a team is high performing or low performing if you don't compare it to, let's say, an average performing team. After that, we have some questions and answers, but as Pierre was saying, if you have any questions during the presentation, you can put them in the chat. If we have time, we can just go into those questions. If not, we will do it at the end of the session, or I will come back to it afterwards offline. Okay, so first of all, key benefits of Agile. Of course, there's a big promise. So we want to deliver software fast, and we want to have short feedback loops so that we can change our requirements all the time based on what the business or the customer really wants. We want to improve the quality, and we do this with our Agile teams, and this means also that the teams will have more fun in working. It's an important factor. The guys themselves on the floor, that they're not working on a project anymore that will take for 2 years before anything is going live. They can just work, produce stuff, and very quickly see how it's working. Which means also greater customer satisfaction, because in the old days with the Big Bang, after a few years of programming, and then your software is there, but it doesn't align anymore with whatever you wanted at the first at the start. So your satisfaction back then was low, and now you get new software in theory all the time after a sprint, and then yeah, this enhances the customer satisfaction if it is well done. And in the end, also reduce risk and waste. So all these things are promised by Agile. But then, of course, it's a question, okay, is this promise also kept in practice? Because in theory, this all sounds great, of course. So you need to prove something. And that's where performance benchmarking kicks in. So you want to understand exactly, okay, we are promising to deliver faster. Are we going to deliver faster? Or are we delivering faster? So there are a lot of aspects about benchmarking that are important if you want to understand what you are doing with your teams. And of course, the benchmarking is not really to punish people or punish teams. It's just to understand what's going on and to improve. So here we have a number of reasons why team performance benchmarking would be a good idea. Just the understanding that you are where you are comparing to, let's say, some industry peer makes you understand, okay, we're doing a good job or we can improve. And that's often a very important understanding, because if you can improve, you will also start your analysis, okay, but where can we improve and why we're not doing that yet. So you will understand your bottlenecks and you will try to get things better. And if you keep on measuring, you will see, hopefully, that things will get better over time. So metrics always are there to, well, to understand, to improve. And I will always say never to punish. There are some exceptions. For instance, if you use the metrics in a contracting situation, I'm involved with many customer supplier relations based on these type of metrics, where if you don't comply to them as a supplier, then you should have in the end a problem. Maybe not at first, but at the end you should have a problem, and you may even be punished with, I don't know, some fine or some lower payment that you expect. But usually this is not the case. You want just to understand what's going on in your teams. You want to make decisions based on metrics. You want objectivity. And in practice, there is, of course, always a lot of resistance from the team, because nobody likes to get measured. Even I don't like to get measured, even though measurement is my thing, because it is always a bit well, let's say people see it as a problem, right? It could be a problem. If your measurement is not good, it could mean that you're in trouble at some time. But actually, your measurement, if it shows that you're doing a good job, you have nothing to be afraid about. And actually, you should be happy that you're doing a good job. And also your customers and your colleagues and everyone should be happy that you're doing a good job. So team performance metrics in the end are also helping the teams themselves to understand if they're doing a good job, yes or no, and how to improve if possible. Yeah, so team performance metrics should be value-driven, actionable, collaborative, and especially in Agile, you have to give them something that can be automated or be easy to measure. And that's, of course, where from NESMA, it's an international standard for functional size measurement. In the past, okay, function points was considered very difficult. You need experts to do that. It takes a lot of time. It is costly. But nowadays, with the lightweight methods, like for instance, simple function points of IFPUG or easy functional sizing of NESMA, you can quite quickly size the functional size that's, for instance, delivered in a sprint. That's very easy to do, and it's quite fast to do. If we look at agile metrics, which the teams are often using, and what I often see in benchmarks, also from companies like I don't know, Blue Optima, or no, there are a couple of those. Most of the time, you will see metrics like these. Like, okay, we have flow metrics, which is about cycle time, lead time, work in progress. It says something about how fast can we deliver certain changes, for instance. You look into process quality metrics, defect escape rate, rework rates, test coverage, all these type of things that are related to software testing. It's also great to do on a team level. It gives you a lot of insight and a lot of trends, especially when you want to improve. Then you have delivery metrics like release frequency, on-time delivery, velocity, burn-down tracks, which are usually on a team level. They are usually based on story points, which is effort, relative effort measurement. And we have team collaboration, communication metrics like code review time, team meeting effectiveness. All these type of things are quite usual in agile teams. Not all of them, of course. Sometimes they just use some subset to measure, but it gives them an idea if the thing that they're doing is good or not so good. Product quality metrics as well. So these are, for instance, the ISO 5055 metrics for software code quality. These are also important, of course, to understand what is the quality of the application, the code that you're delivering. And then there's this one, the team performance metrics, project delivery rate, cost efficiency, delivery speed, sprint quality, which are based on objective metrics, which are not based on story points, but they're based on function points. Why? Because you want to compare things between teams and with the industry. And you can't do that if you don't have an objective measurement method. So you need some objectivity, you need a standard, and then you can use the data and use the size measurement to understand what's going on. If we look at DORA, DORA is very widely used, especially in DevOps teams. And DORA is based on 4 main metrics: deployment frequency, lead time for changes, change failure rate, and time to restore. There's a lot of data about these metrics in DevOps teams worldwide available. And there's a lot of benchmarks also available. So you see, for instance, that very well performance can deploy code 208 times more frequent than not elite performance, and 106 times faster lead time from commit to deploy. So these are metrics that are used also by a lot of teams. But then you can ask yourself, okay, is this really necessary to deploy so many times? Is it when we're talking about changes? Some companies, they can implement changes faster, but what about the size of the change? Is it big? Is it small? I could probably also develop a very, very small change and do it much faster than a lot of other guys do it. So there is no real context about the size of the change here. Well, it's also always good to be fast recovery from incidents, but yeah, should you not prevent the incidents from happening? And also the change failure rate, why is it not 0%? That will be much better always. So the DORA metrics, they are used a lot, but they don't necessarily say a lot about the real performance of a team. It says something, but not a lot. And here you see, for instance, the DORA, elite performance. Okay, this is all great. Your cycle time, your deployment frequency, your change failure rate, your MTTR. Even if you perform great on all these aspects, how much business value do you deliver? Because in the end, that's the most important part, I would say. And then, like I said, there is a guy, and the guy is a CIO, and there is a lot of other guys as well, or women that are IT managers, and they want to know, okay, but what is actually going on with my teams? What are they doing? I know we are spending a certain budget per year on application development. I have like hundreds of teams doing all kinds of stuff, but what are they doing? What are they delivering? So this is an survey from IDC, so I'm a consultant at IDC. We do IDC is a research and analysis company worldwide. Does a lot of research about all kinds of IT related stuff. In this case, it was a survey among about 800 CIOs. And the question was very simple. It was just about the reporting, the monitoring and reporting about performance of software development and DevOps, and which needs are there. So you can see that there's a lot of need for sharing best practices, measuring productivity, measuring cost efficiency, measuring quality, business value, benchmarking against other teams. Understand the team composition, understand the optimum size, etc. Forecasting when a project development project will be complete. So this is software cost estimation, basically. By the way, Pierre, I think you're not on mute because I hear some sounds. And also, interestingly enough, there's very few respondents that say none of the above, and also very few that don't know and they don't have visibility. So this is important because there is this need in the industry on a management level to get more grip on their teams, to understand better what's going on, and this is difficult because the teams themselves, they and here you see an example. The teams themselves, they use the story point metrics usually, which can be compared between the teams and can be aggregated to a higher level to meaningful management information. Because a story point in one team can have a completely different value than a story point in another team, and then even then it is a relative effort estimation method, and sometimes you even use the Fibonacci scale. So there's no ratio scale; it's just one thing is bigger than the other, and then it gets twice as many points, even though it's just a little bit bigger than something else. So you can't really use it, but still you have the situation. We have value streams, we have all kinds of things that we're spending money on as a company. And we have all these teams that have to deliver functionality for all these value streams. And there are certain timelines, there are certain budgets, there's a certain regulation that you have to meet, and all these things that you have to take into consideration when you're on a higher management level, where the agile teams themselves, they have no idea about. They just have a backlog. They know that they have to do whatever the product owner tells them to do in the next sprint, at least as far as they can. And they have no clue that there are actually management somewhere that needs some kind of information how they are going in their projects. In the end, it's all about business value. You want to deliver the business value because your organization, especially nowadays, software development is one of the ways to get a competitive advantage as a company. If you can offer functionality better or faster than your competitor, you may increase your market share or deliver the same thing against lower costs, so you can get better profit. All these type of things are important, of course, if you're in a competitive situation. So there are a lot of so business value itself. It's very hard to measure because it's just a container term. There's a lot of things that can be part of business value, and it can be very different from company to company. It is not really about financial performance. It can be financial performance. It can be customer value. It can be operational efficiency. It can be innovation, competitive advantage. It can also be brand reputation, market share improvement, employee satisfaction, engagement. All these kind of things you can consider at some point business value, or beat the competition. Like I said, you want to be faster and you want to deliver more business value than your competitor. So business value, I hear a lot of customers asking me, okay, I need to measure the business value that we're delivering to our customers. Okay, but what is business value? It's very hard. It's not measurable. But this is what you want in the end. So here you see a lot of metrics. This is called the DevOps metrics pyramid. You see a lot of different metrics here. Most important thing, what I want to show here, is that most teams are using the metrics here on the bottom of the pyramid, which is about operational efficiency, service quality, service velocity, those type of things, which is great. Then you have the IT. From IT point of view, you focus more on customer value, also organizational effectiveness. But in the end, the business value is more about the somewhat more vague concepts like the market share, the cash flow, the things that we just saw. And in the end, there is maybe a CEO or a CFO that's asking the CIO guy or girl, okay, we spent, I don't know, 100 million euros, dollars on application development. If we had not done that, what would be the effect on our business performance? Or can you explain what is the effect on our business performance? It's a very difficult question, and of course, it's very difficult to answer that question. But we in NESMA, I'm sure if Cosmic, other organizations, ISBSG, we have the same opinion about that functionality should be a good proxy for measuring business value, considering it is well prioritized and maybe meets some other characteristics. But in general, you could say, okay, if I get more functionality for the same amount of money I spent, then I should get more business value. Otherwise, why would we build it, right? So it should be well prioritized. But if it's well prioritized, the thing that you're delivering should add some business value. Otherwise, why would you do it? Then the thing that you're delivering before you're going to do it would be just as good. So why otherwise would you do it? So functionality, in our opinion, is a proxy for business value, and if that's possible, if you can share that reasoning, then it will be possible to measure the business value, the proxy, let's say the functionality that's delivered by the teams. And there are ISO standards available to measure the business value or the functional size, the functionality, objectively using an ISO standard. There's NESMA, there's IFPUG, there's Cosmic, and this means that you can measure the value that is produced by the teams. And once you do that, okay, we can measure, and then we can also compare it. We can benchmark it, and we can use it to identify high performance or low performance. And why would you do that? Well, it's very important, because if you know which are your high performing teams, then yeah, there are a lot of benefits. Of course, here you have a few replication scalability. You want to make your high performing teams understand what they're doing well, and then copy that to other teams and hope that they will also be doing better. And there are all kinds of benefits, of course, in there. But you should be able to quantify all this. Also, the benefits of identifying low performing teams. It's also there because you want to have them improved. You don't want to punish them. Well, except if they're a supplier and they already have a long track record of not performing. But let's say it's your own team and you want them to improve. So you want to understand what's going on. Why are you not delivering as good as the market? And then find some support, find some way to help them to improve. But how do you do it? So you have to measure the output delivered by the teams. And like I said, so the industry, most of the teams are using this story point metrics. You can't compare them. In the teams, it's great that you can that you have some method that they can use to understand the backlog items that they can take into the next sprint. It's some kind of estimation method to understand how much work they can do in the next sprint. But many organizations make the mistake that the word points means that there's a ratio scale, and it's some kind of unified thing. So you can measure based on the story points. You can measure, you can compare, you can use data. All these kind of things you can do. I even saw a blog of a software vendor not so long ago that advocated the idea of going into contracts based of story points. It's absolutely impossible to do because story points is not objective, it's not standardized. Of course, from a vendor point of view, I think it's a good idea because you can just make your own price, right? Because if you have a price per story points, okay, you will get a lot of story points, of course, as a customer. Yeah, that's not how it should work. But in the team themselves, like I said, story points is okay. You can use your sprint burn down charts and understand a bit more about how you're working. But yeah, if you really want to benchmark and you want to understand what's going on, then you need other metrics. This show you a bit of the industry, like a survey that I myself did a couple of years back already, where I looked at the difference in the industry on all kinds of metrics. Well, the first four, the team metrics, the productivity, cost efficiency, velocity, and project quality. And then we have a number of product metrics because you can be very productive, very fast. But still, if your product is not well, then the customer will still not be happy. So it's all the metrics should be good in the end. But you see that per metric there's a huge difference in the industry when it comes to performance. Some are performing 100% better than others. So there and just the measuring will give you this insight. Where am I? Am I in the green bar? Am I in the red bar? Maybe I'm in the green bar somewhere. Maybe I'm in the red bars in most of the places. It's important to understand where you are so you can see which aspects of your delivery process should improve. And then it is still not so easy. Let's put it like that. And this is again a slide that I usually use to explain what is the difference between function points and story points. I will explain it a bit to you. I hope you see my mouse here. So here we have here a team. Let's say a team has 1,000 hours. It's just a fixed team. And this is the capacity of a sprint. For instance, they have 1,000 hours. The first sprint, if they do a complete greenfield project, they can use a lot of their capacity over 1,000 hours in the first sprint on building new functionality, which should be, like we said, a proxy for value, business value. There are always some tasks that are not that you have to do, but don't have any relation with the new functionality that you're making. If you measure this, you could see maybe it's 80 function points and maybe it's also 80 story points. It's coincidence could be also because there's no relation between story points and function points. But in this example, it's the same. So in sprint 2 already there's a product owner that says, hey, this looks great, but I want a couple of changes. So you have some modified functionality. And maybe team already did some shortcuts in the code in the first sprint to meet the definition of done. But yeah, okay, we have to refactor a bit because we made some shortcuts there. So you get already a lot, or a bit more capacity that is going away from the green box, from the new functionality, into some other stuff. Then next sprints again, we get bug fixing in there. We get maybe some even more tasks. We get some remove functionality because yeah, we already built it, but it's not needed anymore. So we take it out again. And you see that over time, the teams will spend less and less effort on new functionality. But when you look at the story points, they're very predictable because all these things, also these red boxes, they also get their story points. So from a management point of view, the only thing you can take from this is that, yeah, team is very predictable. They can do 80 story points per sprint, and they have proved it. But you don't know on what they have spent it. The 80 story points, which are those story points? And with function points, we measure the new functionality, but also Nesma standard has also the possibility to measure project size, which is new function points plus modified function points plus remove function points, because you also have to do work to remove functionality from an application. And that's what we call EFP, enhancement function points. So this is new plus modified plus removed. And if you measure that, you will get completely different metrics. So here maybe you have spent 10 hours per function point, but yeah, the productivity gets worse, or project delivery rate gets worse over time because you're spending less time on the functionality. And functional size measurement, okay, explained it a bit already. So you have Nesma, ISPEC, Cosmic, which are the main standards. And the main importance is that it's person independent. So this means a guy who does the measurement, it doesn't matter who it is, should get the same result. Repeatability, comparability, etc. So it's like the square meter of software. That's what I like to compare. Okay, you have a wall. It's a number of square meter or square feet if you're from that metric, from that system. And it doesn't matter who is measuring this surface. You will get the same number anyway. So with the function points, we only measure what's above here. So this means that you will get much different metrics when you focus on these blocks. And then you can see, for instance, your team performance. Okay, I measure the number of hours. I measure how many enhanced function points I get. So in this case, 14.4, we have some trend through time. This is great. So we have cost per function point. We have delivery speed, which is function points per month. We have project quality, which are defects found per function point. But still, this doesn't say too much because, okay, 14.4, is it good? Is it bad? Is my team high performing? Is my team low performing? And then you can start comparing, because you use the function points, you can compare with the ISBSG dataset, for instance. ISBSG, over 12,500 data points now of new developments and enhancement projects, releases and sprints. So this is a screenshot of last year. So then it had 11,800 rows. Now there are more. You can just select your peer group by understanding what is where do I want to compare to. For instance, you take your data quality rating A or B, which is the best data quality. You say maybe my year of project should be higher than 2020 or something. You just make a selection there. You say, okay, I'm doing a transactional production system, so I filter on this one. And then, of course, you measure here Nesma or IFPEC4 Plus. So these provide similar results, so you can use both. And then you can just select the data that's there in your data set and do your analysis of your, for instance, the median, which I usually use for the market average. As the data is usually skewed to the right, the average would not give a good result for the market average. That's why I use the median value of this data set. And then you can compare. And what I do, I calculated what I call the index. For instance, here, the PDR is a project delivery rate in hours per function point. But okay, the PDR, let's say I have a 10 hours per function point Java team, and I have a 10 hour per function point COBOL team. So are they both good? Are they both bad? Are they both on average? If you look at the ISBSG, and these are just examples, I didn't really check it, so but it's just for the example. For Java, for instance, median PDR is 8. For COBOL, median PDR is 13, which means that if you do 10 hours per function point, for Java, you're really not doing a good job because the median industry average is 8. And the lower, the better, of course, when you use hours per function point. And for COBOL, it is maybe, yeah, so if you do 10 hours per function point, you're doing a good job because the industry is doing 15 hours per function point. Which means that you can identify if your team is doing well or not so well. And you have here this formula. Okay, it's very easy formula, of course. So you can just calculate how good or how bad is my team delivering. In this case, 25% Java, 25% worse, COBOL 23% better, which is all good. And then you can make these type of graphs per team where you understand compared to the industry, is my team performing well, yes or no, on these aspects. In this case, okay, this is an example case. So productivity is 4% better than average. Cost is 4% lower. So maybe maybe this is an external team and I have high senior people, which are a bit more expensive, but they're also more productive and faster, and they produce less defects. So then that's okay. So in this case, if you apply the benchmarking, the performance measurement, you can understand which are my teams that are performing well and which are not performing well. So here, for instance, in this graph, you see this is also an example with a lot of demo teams. The 0% line is the market average, which can be different from each team, right? We just seen that for Java, it was 8 hours per function point. For COBOL, it was 13 hours per function point. But if you calculate your indexes, you know my Java team is here and my COBOL team is here. So this means that you are able to understand which are my high performers and which are my low performing teams just by comparing it to ISBSG data, which is, if your data set is large enough, it's a perfectly okay thing to do to compare to the industry. Of course, you have to select your right peer group. That's an important part, but that's doable. Okay, so that was my presentation for now. I have a few final thoughts for after the Q&A. Do we have any questions, Pierre?
There are no questions in the chat, but you can deactivate your microphone and ask questions directly. All attendees should be able to do that. So just open your microphone and come with your questions. Oh, there we have from Madhavi. Do you have also category with high use of, let's see what, with high use of artificial intelligence, AI? Did you hear that? Do we have anything with AI in the repository yet?
This is the question from Madhavi, right?
Yeah, from Madawi. Yeah.
Okay. I know Manavi. Yeah, probably we have. The problem is that we don't have. I don't think we at the moment we have a field that captures AI. You have to understand. Okay, if organizations submit data, they send in either an Excel sheet or one of the questionnaires from the websites. And we don't really ask if AI was involved in a project. So we can't know, but probably there is nowadays. We just don't know. Let's put it like that.
Then we have a questionnaire. How can I get peer data for the public sector in my country or comparable countries from the ISPSG dataset?
Yeah, so we do capture the country in the repository. The only thing is we don't share at the moment the country in the data set that we if you buy the data set from ISPSG, the country won't be there, and that was a decision a long time ago because it's a bit political. People would be able to understand, okay, if I outsource to, I don't know, to Philippines, productivity is like that. If I outsource to Argentina, productivity will be that. And yeah, we were afraid that maybe that would get too political, or some countries would be sending in data only of their best projects to make sure that their country would be showing in very well. But there is a report. I made a report a couple of years ago about the performance of different countries, PDR in different countries. That's probably in the resources section, somewhere in the paper section. And there it is kind of there's an analysis of the countries there. When it comes to the sector, we have government as one of the industry sectors that you can just filter on.
And of course, it's also for the anonymize the data. So if someone is sending data and let's say it's from telecom and they only have one telecom company in that country, it will be obvious which where the data is coming from. That's why we don't show the country. Then we have another question. Yeah, from Luigi. I was going to come to that. Is there a discount for buying the ISPSG repository? Yes, I would come to that at the end of this.
Okay.
So it is all that are connected to one of the gold partners, a member of one of the gold partners. They will get a discount buying the ISPSG. All the data and every service and the products that we have in ISPSG, you will get a discount if you are a member of a gold partner.
Yeah, exactly. For instance, if you're a member of NESMA, it's about 125 euros per year, I guess, NESMA membership. But you will save that easily on ISPSG data.
Yeah.
So and same probably the same for other gold partners as well.
Yeah. Then we have one, measuring and benchmarking is time consuming in automotive software development. Do you see automotive embedded software development supplying using function point measurement? Yeah, I can start answering that. I was here in Sweden and we had a presentation here, and it was one car manufacturer here in Sweden that used function point when they were trying to find out how much and how big data did they have to do in the cars, and so they have been using it. And you can continue, Harry. I think you know also automotive companies that have been using.
Yeah, automotive. It used to be a car with some software in it. Nowadays, it's it's software with a car around it. I think they call it a software-defined vehicle nowadays. And I was also in an event not so long ago where a lot of automotive manufacturers also shared ideas about cost estimation, also about size measurement. I know of Renault, for instance, in France, that uses function points in their procurement process and to understand how much functionality is delivered per vendor. So there's actually a lot of examples of automotive companies using function points and measurement and metrics. Yeah.
Yeah, the example I was referring to, that was really for embedded
Yeah,
software.
yeah.
So
yeah, and embedded software is usually measured a bit better with cosmic function points, right? That's the main method that you use in the automotive industry usually, because NESMA and IFPUG are really more applicable for business applications.
yeah, but in this case, when I was working with that car manufacturer, they used the function points. There was the IFPUG or NESMA function point to know how much data will be transferred between different parts in the software, the embedded software, so they can size the embedded software. But we have more here. His from Manoj Batra.
Yes.
ISPC
Yes.
do not have automotive embedded software supply repository in Cosmic, which is best fit for embedded automotive software. You could perhaps, if you want to say more, Manoj, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, I have taken a productivity tool access for the ISPSG, and we see like out of 10,000 projects, only 100 is in Cosmic, and out of that, very few for the automotive. So it's a very less sizable to really see, use the benchmark from ISPSG. So we encourage, if you guys can promote automotive suppliers or software developers to give anonymous data sizable and promote this exercise of doing with Cosmic, it will be great for the future because now the size is growing too much. As you define in software defined vehicle, it's like 15-20% of total vehicle cost is going in the software itself.
Yeah, I totally agree. The only thing is that we are not in the position that we can really force people to send us data, right? We can only make it interesting for companies to send data. Also, Cosmic data, doesn't matter what type of data. We put it in there, but and we give back a benchmark report for anyone who sends in data. They will get a benchmark report about that data. We did Cosmic data collection initiatives in the past, where we just give extra rewards if you send in some Cosmic data and really publish this to the Cosmic channels. But last time I tried to do that with the Cosmic organization, there was not too much interest, and so they decided not to do it. Don't know why, but yeah. So you're quite right. We would really want to have more data of all kinds of stuff. Also, the Cosmic data of automotive. But yeah, we are kind of in a reactive position there.
Yeah, we know there are a lot of car manufacturers that they have problems with development of the software, and that's why many models are delayed. And so it would be good if we can get more data from the car manufacturers' software departments. And as Harold said, we can't force them. We can just hope that they will send data and encourage companies to send data. We have another question from Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can perhaps you can take it directly if you want to.
Yes, sure. Hello. So I like the idea of a business value and using functionality to express business value. But in our company, we do a lot of software reuse. So many times we don't develop from scratch new software, but we use existing software components. So it's like assembling, like putting together the pieces of the puzzle. And this gives us, of course, a competitive advantage because it can deliver much more function points, reusing software that already exists. So what I wanted to know is how can we compare our performance with others if we use the ISBSG dataset?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we capture a reuse. I'm not sure how detailed we capture that because it's been some time since I've looked into this. Let me just park this question and come back to you offline. I will have to check the data set and see where the reuse is captured. Or maybe Hans can help. Hans, the cluster manager. I saw that you're in here somewhere.
We have Hans here.
Yeah.
Hans, can
Well,
you get a comment this? You have to, yeah, now.
Yes, okay. We do have the reuse attribute, but I'm not sure at this moment how many projects have this. So I should have to look it up and report on it later.
Okay.
I can just mention that I was working with benchmarking for 10 years, and I could tell the customers then, if you start reusing, then you can see, compare it to traditional, if you have to develop it from scratch, everything, you should have a better productivity and a lower cost per delivered functionality. So then they could see if that was true or not.
Yeah, but you can see it for yourself, but
Yeah.
but to compare it to the right data set, that's I guess what the question is about.
Yeah.
But okay, we'll look into that, Tom. We'll come back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Okay, maybe if there are other questions, just send them to me by email. That's always good. The problem. See, Luigi Buglioni entered the waiting room. I guess he is on a different time zone.
Oh,
But that's okay. That's okay. I will
think he
just
lost
have
connection,
a few more minutes because I also have another meeting, and I'm sure a lot of other people.
yeah, and I have one slide to show. So
yeah, but I'm still showing now one more thing, and then I'll give it over to you. So Netherlands, I already explained a bit about contracts, right? So in Netherlands, we now started also NPR 5333. It's almost finished, by the way. This is output-based performance measurement for Agile teams, and also with the idea to contract Agile teams, external Agile teams based on objective metrics, which we see as a solution for one of the main problems in the industry, which is the contracting based on the time material hourly rates. Which is a problem for both vendors and customers because vendors are just incentivized by spending as many hours as possible. And on the other hand, they have to compete on hourly rates with their competitors, and it's difficult. Next ISBSG webinar, NESMA webinar, will be on this topic, at least for me. Maybe there will be other webinars, but at least for me, I'm intending to do a webinar on that topic as well. So if you're interested. And here's my last slide, I think. Please join us if you're interested in NESMA, in our content, in being part of the community. Then come to the NESMA site, and we have once a year. We also have a live event, a physical event where you can well, just network with peers. Thanks, and here's also my email address. Send me if you have any more questions or ideas or whatever. Just send me a message, and I will come back to you as soon as possible.